Imagine compressing a century of meticulous lab work into a single weekend. Or even better, imagine an algorithm that doesn't just crunch numbers, but truly invents. Perhaps even, out-inventing a Nobel laureate. This isn't just science fiction anymore. Today we're diving deep into a really profound shift in how humanity discovers new knowledge. We're going to explore why the very engine of scientific progress is being fundamentally re-engineered, how it's sparking breakthroughs we could only dream of before. Get ready to see how artificial intelligence AI is no longer just a tool, but becoming a true collaborator, transforming every stage of scientific inquiry, from that initial spark of an idea right through to unveiling nature's deepest laws.
It's an absolutely remarkable moment in history, really a turning point. We stand on the precipice of what many are now calling the fifth paradigm of scientific discovery. And to truly grasp the monumental scale of this shift, it really helps to look back a bit. Look at the long journey of how we've arrived here, how humanity has historically tried to understand the universe.
Right, it's like looking at a scientific timeline, isn't it? For millennia, our journey began with what's known as the first paradigm, empirical science. This was all about direct observation, pure hands-on experimentation. Think about it. Aristotle, meticulously observing nature, categorizing species, or someone like Thomas Edison going through countless, painstaking trials for the light bulb filament. Knowledge came from what could be seen, touched, measured directly. It was about discovering the what of the world.
Exactly. Foundational stuff. Building knowledge brick by brick from direct experience. But then, centuries ago, a new kind of inquiry emerged, leading us into the second paradigm, theoretical science. Suddenly, we started asking not just what, but why. Scientists like Isaac Newton weren't simply observing apples falling. They were developing universal laws, elegant theories like the laws of motion, gravity that could explain why things happened, and even predict future phenomena. They began connecting all those seemingly disparate observations into coherent, beautiful models. It gave us a deeper understanding of the underlying principles.
That's where the power of prediction really took hold, a major leap. And then the 20th century ushered in the third paradigm, computational science. With computers, scientists gained what we can truly think of as a turbocharged brain. No longer limited to manual calculations, they could solve incredibly complex equations numerically, run elaborate simulations, modeling everything from global weather patterns to the intricate dynamics of galaxies. Problems too vast, too intricate for human hands or minds alone suddenly became tractable.
Precisely. And that accelerated us into the fourth paradigm, data-driven science. That really began to blossom in the last, maybe 2 decades. This era was defined by our newfound ability to collect, store, analyze truly massive data sets, the big data revolution, as we call it. Machine learning, in its earlier forms, made its first significant inroads here. Sifting through mountains of information to find hidden patterns. It wasn't just answering questions anymore. The sheer volume of data and the patterns within it began to prompt entirely new questions, revealing insights that were simply invisible before.
And that brings us, with a truly seismic jolt, to where we are now, the fifth paradigm. This current era, often called AI for science or AI4, it isn't just about applying AI as another tool. It's about deeply integrating it into the very fabric of research itself, a profound re-engineering. What's the core difference then? What makes this a new paradigm, distinct from just data-driven science?
That's a crucial distinction, yeah. In the fourth paradigm, AI largely modeled empirical data from experiments. We fed it observations, it found patterns. But the fifth paradigm, we're doing something far more fundamental. We're training deep neural networks on data generated from fundamental scientific equations themselves. The AI learns the underlying physics directly from simulations. It becomes a powerful emulator. This isn't just faster computation. It's like giving scientists the ability to run experiments in universes that don't even exist yet, exploring possibilities that would be physically impossible or take billions of years in our own.
Wow, so it's not just crunching numbers. It's almost understanding the rules of the universe. That's where the new digital colleague analogy really comes to life, isn't it? For decades, computers were passive tools. Incredibly powerful calculators, yes, but still just executing commands. They refined models, they processed data, but the human scientist remained the sole source of intuition, creativity, the initial hypotheses. Now, AI is an active collaborator, a genuine co-scientist, engaging in cognitive functions previously exclusive to us. Reasoning, planning, generating novel hypotheses, even designing experiments. It's truly remarkable.
It is, and this distinction is vital. It's augmentation, not just automation. We're not talking about machines simply taking over human tasks. Instead, it's a profound partnership, humans and machines combining their complementary strengths. This frees human scientists from the routine, monotonous, or computationally intensive tasks that once consumed so much time. It allows them to focus on higher-level strategic oversight, on truly creative problem-solving, and on the uniquely human aspects of scientific inquiry, formulating the big questions, interpreting the philosophical implications.
So it's not about AI replacing us, but enhancing us, making us more efficient, more creative. That sounds like a powerful team. But it's not always seamless, right? I've heard it can sometimes be like a smart but clueless intern.
Huh. Yeah, that's a good way to put it sometimes.
It might have immense intellectual capacity, but it could lack the undocumented, tacit knowledge within a research team. Those unwritten rules or insights from years of hands-on experience. So successful integration isn't just plugging in a new tool. It requires transforming our work methods to make that human-acquired knowledge explicit for the AI.
Absolutely. It's a dynamic collaboration learning process for both sides.
Yeah.
The AI brings computation, pattern recognition. The human brings intuition, experience, critical judgment. This synergy allows for a kind of meta-science where the process of discovery itself becomes optimized, accelerated. By the end of our deep dive today, you'll clearly see why discovery itself is being re-engineered, setting the stage for truly unprecedented advancements across virtually every scientific domain you can imagine.
Okay, so this AI for science revolution didn't just appear out of nowhere. You called it a perfect storm. A timely convergence of three distinct yet mutually reinforcing technological forces, creating this self-perpetuating flywheel, right? Progress in one area accelerates the others.
Exactly. A powerful compounding effect. The first and arguably most fundamental driver is the sheer explosion of scientific data, the data deluge. Modern scientific instruments across virtually every field are generating data on a scale that is simply beyond human capacity to analyze. This big data is the essential fuel for today's sophisticated AI models. Without it, these complex algorithms would just starve.
And when we say explosion, we truly mean it. Take genomics. That field is on track to produce zettabyte scale data annually by 2025. A zettabyte. That's 1 trillion gigabytes.
1 trillion gigabytes per year, potentially surpassing astronomy, YouTube, and Twitter combined. Every single year.
That's just staggering.
And it's driven by falling sequencing costs, large-scale population studies, creating this incredibly rich data set for understanding biology, disease, individual variations.
It's not just biology, right? Astronomy and physics, too.
Oh, absolutely. Large-scale experiments like CERN's Large Hadron Collider generate petabytes of data every single second from billions of particle collisions. Imagine trying to sift through that manually.
Impossible.
Then you have space telescopes like Kepler, and now the James Webb Space Telescope, capturing billions of cosmic images, creating vast, ever-growing catalogs of stars, galaxies, potential exoplanets. This exponential growth in high-quality, complex data from every scientific domain provides the fertile ground, the raw material for AI models to learn from.
So we have the fuel and almost incomprehensible amount of data. But data alone is just noise without the right tools. What's been happening on the algorithmic side? That brings us to the second driver, algorithmic breakthroughs. These new AI architectures aren't just small improvements, they're foundational shifts, right?
Yeah.
Deep learning especially.
That's right. Deep learning has introduced models capable of far more complex pattern recognition than anything before. 3 types in particular are really reshaping the landscape. First, transformers. These came out of natural language processing around 2017, but their impact is much broader. They use this self-attention mechanism.
That's it, like focusing on the important parts.
Exactly, but across the entire input at once. Imagine reading a long paper and instantly connecting page 5 to page 50, understanding the deep context. That's what self-attention allows. It makes them incredibly powerful for analyzing any sequence, human language, DMA, protein sequences, like how AlphaFold works.
Got it. Sequence masters. Then there are graph neural networks, GNNs. You described them like social network analysts for molecules.
Yeah, that's a decent analogy. They're designed for data structured as a graph nodes connected by edges. Think atoms as nodes, chemical bonds as edges. GNNs learn by passing messages between connected nodes. They understand not just the parts, but the relationships, how the connections define the whole system. So a natural fit for modeling molecules, predicting properties, or even mapping particle interactions in a collider. They think in relationships.
Okay, that makes sense. And the third type, diffusion models. These sound different.
They are. A newer, very exciting class. They're generative models inspired by thermodynamics, believe it or not. They learn to create new data by reversing a process of adding noise. Imagine taking a clear picture and gradually adding static until it's unrecognizable. The AI learns how to reverse that, how to denoise the static back into a clear picture.
And once it learns that,
It can start with random noise and generate entirely new, realistic samples that follow the learned patterns. State-of-the-art for generative tasks, creating novel drug candidates, material structures from scratch. It's like a digital sculptor.
wow. Okay, so ocean of data, sophisticated algorithms, but you need the power to run them. Driver number 3, compute scalability.
Absolutely essential. The sheer horsepower. This comes from specialized hardware and increasingly cloud-based high-performance computing, or HPC.
GPUs, right, graphics cards.
The GPU revolution is central. Graphics processing units, originally for video games, excel at massive parallel calculations, thousands at once. Perfect for the matrix algebra underpinning deep learning. They're the workhorses of the AI era.
And the cloud makes this accessible.
Hugely. Democratization via the cloud is monumental. Supercomputing power, once exclusive to elite labs with huge budgets, can now be rented on demand. Researchers, smaller institutions, startups, they can access vast GPU clusters without prohibitive upfront costs.
This creates that virtuous cycle you mentioned.
Exactly. More data fuels bigger algorithms demanding more compute. That drives hardware innovation, which enables deeper analysis, generation of new massive data sets. Think AlphaFold's 200 million proteins, GNoME's 2.2 million materials. That new data then fuels the next generation of algorithms. It's this accelerating, self-reinforcing loop that's the core dynamic of AI for science. It just keeps speeding up.
Okay, let's talk about how AI isn't just a tool in the toolbox anymore. It's fundamentally reshaping the scientific method itself, augmenting and accelerating every single stage, from hypothesis to interpretation, creating a more efficient, maybe even more creative engine for discovery.
Let's unpack this stage by stage, because the transformation is truly comprehensive. Take hypothesis generation. Traditionally, a novel hypothesis was seen as this quintessential human act, creativity, intuition, serendipity, that aha moment after hours of reading and thinking.
Right. But scientists now face this impossible volume of publications, patents, clinical trials. No human can read it all.
Exactly. But AI systems, especially large language models, can ingest and process millions of these documents in minutes. They extract key findings, summarize complex papers, identify subtle conceptual links across disparate fields that a human might never connect. This pinpoints unexplored connections, contradictions, gaps, fertile ground for new research questions.
But it goes beyond just summarizing, right? You mentioned AI generating hypotheses.
Yes, moving from assistant to co-scientist. Look at Google's AI co-scientist. It's a multi-agent system using specialized AI agents. One generates ideas, another critiques them, another ranks, another refines, iteratively generating and improving novel hypotheses. It successfully proposed drug repurposing candidates for leukemia, new therapeutic targets for liver fibrosis ideas later validated in experiments.
That's incredible, like an AI brainstorming session, but supercharged. Are others doing this, simulating research communities?
Precisely. MIT's SciAgents framework simulates a community of AI scientists. An ontologist builds knowledge graphs, a scientist crafts proposals, a critic challenges them. Through this simulated discourse, it generated an original, plausible hypothesis for a novel biomaterial combining silk and dandelion pigments, creative combination across domains.
And the speed.
Astonishing. An AI tool, prompted on antibiotic resistance, proposed the exact same complex hypothesis human researchers had spent years developing, but the AI did it in a fraction of the time.
Okay, so you have a hypothesis. Next, experiment design. Traditionally, that's expert intuition, trial and error. Time-consuming, resource-intensive.
AI transforms this into an optimization problem. Maximize knowledge, minimize cost, and trials. Techniques like active learning are key here. The AI operates in a closed loop with the experiment. It suggests the single most informative experiment to run next based on what it already knows and where its uncertainty is highest. That experiment is done often by robots in self-driving labs. The data fed back, the AI updates, suggest the next best experiment. Maximally efficient, avoids redundancy.
A really intelligent way to explore possibilities. Are there other techniques for this optimization?
Bayesian optimization is another powerful one. It maps the experimental parameters, space, temperatures, concentrations, etc., including uncertainty estimates. It intelligently selects parameters to test, balancing exploitation, testing promising areas, and exploration, testing uncertain areas where breakthroughs might hide. It efficiently navigates these huge, high-dimensional spaces to find optimal conditions with dramatically fewer physical trials.
Then comes data acquisition and analysis. This is where AI's impact has been most widespread for a while, right?
Definitely. The sheer volume and complexity of modern data make automated analysis essential. AI excels at finding subtle patterns invisible to humans.
Like in medical imaging.
Absolutely. Convolutional neural networks think digital eyes trained on millions of images, revolutionize classifying X-rays, MRIs, pathology slides, detecting cancer, pneumonia, often matching or exceeding human accuracy. There are systems that analyze a tumor biopsy image and directly predict the activity of thousands of genes within the cancer cells. Rich genomic info without costly sequencing.
And in astronomy, too. Sifting through cosmic data.
Yes. AI classifies galaxies from Webb telescope images, sometimes helped by citizen scientists in projects like Galaxy Zoo, where an AI called ZooBot assists volunteers. And finding exoplanets, NASA's Examiner sifts through light curve data. Finding those tiny dips in starlight, it's validated hundreds of new planets missed by older methods.
Even in fusion energy.
Critical there. Controlling superheated plasma is a huge data challenge. AI performs real-time sensor fusion, integrating data from many sensors to detect early signs of instability, like hotspots on reactor walls. This allows immediate adjustments to maintain safe fusion reactions. It's essential for control.
And then, the final frontier. Discovery and interpretation. AI deriving fundamental laws from data, moving beyond prediction to explanation.
This is where it gets really profound, using symbolic regression. Unlike standard regression, fitting data to a predefined equation or opaque deep learning, symbolic regression searches the vast space of possible mathematical expressions. It aims to find the simplest, most compact formula that accurately describes the data. Like Kepler testing models for planetary orbits, but automated and supercharged. It tries to deduce the underlying law.
So not just fitting a curve, but deducing the equation itself from scratch, like an AI Sherlock Holmes for physics.
That's a great way to think about it. And AI-powered symbolic regression is getting incredibly sophisticated. Early methods used genetic programming, but now large language models help guide the search more intelligently.
How so?
Well, a framework called LASR uses an LLM to build a library of abstract scientific concepts, power law, exponential decay. This biases the search towards physically meaningful forms, more efficient, more insightful. Another, SRGPT, couples a transformer with a Monte Carlo tree search, like a game-playing AI exploring possibilities to efficiently navigate the huge search space for formulas.
And the impact.
By discovering the equation in the data, AI gives scientists new interpretable models, genuine insight into mechanisms, deeper understanding, generalization. AI isn't just generating hypotheses and analyzing data, it's helping formulate the very theories that explain the results. It's remarkable.
This shows a clear maturity curve, doesn't it? Data analysis is established, experiment design is strategic, hypothesis generation and law discovery are emerging as creative partnerships.
Exactly. A dynamic human-AI collaboration, moving from mechanistic to strategic to creative. It's also giving rise to meta-science, where the process of discovery itself is optimized by AI.
Okay, let's dive into some specific domains. Where is AI for science making its mark right now? Tangible breakthroughs.
Right, this isn't just theory. We're seeing high-impact applications across nearly every field.
Let's start with life sciences and medicine. Drug discovery, biology notoriously slow, costly processes.
And the protein folding revolution with AlphaFold is the iconic example here. Predicting a protein's 3D structure from its amino acid sequence, a 50-year grand challenge.
Solved by AI.
Effectively, yes.
Yeah.
Google DeepMind's AlphaFold, trained on vast databases, now predicts structures with accuracy rivaling laborious experimental methods, saving immense research time. The latest, AlphaFold 3, even predicts complex assemblies interactions with DNA, RNA, small molecule drugs, opening new frontiers for targeted therapies. It turned a decades-long bottleneck into a near-instant computation.
Staggering.
Yeah.
But beyond predicting existing structures, you mentioned generative AI designing entirely new biological entities.
Yes, digital alchemy. For small molecules, typical drugs, generative models, VAEs, GNs, diffusion models, literally dream up novel molecular structures, tailored for specific goals. Bind to a cancer protein, be non-toxic. The first AI-designed drug entered clinical trials in under 18 months, usually takes over 4 years. Huge acceleration.
And more complex things too, antibodies, enzymes.
Absolutely. AI models like RF diffusion design complex antibody loops for precise target binding, creating new functional antibodies from scratch. Even completely novel enzymes, proteins that catalyze reactions have been designed by AI. Custom biocatalysts for pharmaceuticals, biofuels, designing biological machinery is now possible.
Then there's genomics and personalized medicine, AI unlocking insights from our DNA.
Exactly. Analyzing billions of base pairs is a massive data task. AI models trained on huge genomic datasets identify subtle patterns linked to disease risk, cancer, diabetes, enabling proactive healthcare.
And tailoring treatments.
Yeah.
Personalized medicine.
Crucially, AI integrates patient genomic data with clinical records, lifestyle factors to predict individual drug responses, helping clinicians choose the most effective therapy first time, avoiding ineffective treatments, minimizing side effects. Studies are analyzing data from tens of thousands of cancer patients, identifying mutations affecting outcomes, predicting immunotherapy response. It's happening now. Moving to physics and astronomy, navigating the cosmos and the collider.
At CERN's LHC, those billions of collisions per second, AI is essential for filtering that data flood, right? The trigger systems.
Indispensable. Real-time filters using machine learning decide in microseconds which tiny fraction, 0.01% of events are interesting enough to save. Without AI, the LHC would drown in data.
And it helps find rare signals, like Higgs boson decays.
Precisely. Graph neural networks and transformers help distinguish extremely rare Higgs decays into charm quarks from overwhelming background noise, setting crucial limits. And searching for new physics via anomaly detection. Autoencoders trained on normal data flag events that look fundamentally different. These anomalies are the prime candidates for discovering physics beyond the standard model.
And out in space, finding exoplanets.
NASA's Examiner, a deep neural network, finds those tiny periodic dips in starlight from transiting exoplanets in Kepler and TESS data. It's validated hundreds previously missed.
What about the James Webb Space Telescope images? So much data there.
AI is key, often combined with citizen science. Galaxy Zoo uses Zoobot AI to classify easier galaxies, passing complex ones to humans and learning from them. More advanced frameworks like Morpheus do pixel-by-pixel classification to study early galaxy formations systematically, impossible manually.
Now, materials science and chemistry. The AI alchemist.
Google DeepMind's GNoME graph networks for materials exploration is a stunning example. Uses GNNs to predict crystal stability. It discovered 2.2 million new crystal structures. 380,000 predicted stable and synthesizable.
2.2 million.
Yes. Expanded known stable materials by nearly an order of magnitude, equivalent to 800 years of human knowledge generation in one project. And these are being synthesized in autonomous labs now.
Incredible acceleration. And finding materials for specific needs. Clean energy.
Exactly. For better batteries, AI screens millions of potential solid-state electrolytes in hours, not years. Found candidates needing 70% less lithium. For solar cells, AI found materials boosting efficiency significantly after synthesizing just 101 molecules from a virtual library of 1 million. Carbon capture AI screens or designs novel metal organic frameworks, MOFs, for optimal CO2 capture, accelerating critical climate tech.
And finally, climate science and Earth observation. Modeling our planet. Digital twins.
That's the vision. High-fidelity virtual replicas for weather prediction, climate simulation. NVIDIA's Earth-2 platform has Seabottle, a generative AI simulating global climate at kilometer-scale resolution. Trained on decades of data, it predicts extreme weather thousands of times faster, more energy efficiently than traditional models. Earlier warnings.
And Google's GraphCast.
Yeah.
Outperforming traditional forecasts.
Yes. Trained on 40 years of weather data, it produces a highly accurate 10-day global forecast in under a minute on one machine. The gold standard takes hours on a supercomputer, near-instant, reliable warnings. AI also transforms satellite imagery into actionable intelligence, monitoring deforestation in near real time, detecting illegal logging, tracking fires.
Wildfire detection seems crucial.
AI models distinguish fire heat signatures from false alarms. Projects like FireSat aim for dedicated satellite constellations with onboard AI for global detection every 20 minutes. Rapid response. And AI has analyzed millions of satellite images to map glacier retreat over decades, revealing changes inconceivable manually. Critical climate data.
Okay, let's peek under the hood. What are the core technologies driving this? The AI architectures, the platforms.
Right, the engines of discovery. A few deep learning architectures are key, each suited to different scientific data.
We touched on them earlier. Graph neural networks, GNNs, the relational thinkers.
Exactly. Designed for graph data nodes and edges. They use message passing to learn about nodes and their complex relationships within the system. Natural fit for chemistry, materials science, atom nodes, bond sedges, predicting properties like solubility, powering genome, drug discovery. In physics, modeling particle cascades.
Then transformers, the sequence masters, with self-attention.
Yep. Revolutionized sequence processing, capturing long-range dependencies, context, crucial beyond language. In genomics, analyzing DNA sequences. In biology, AlphaFold treats protein chains as a language. In physics, CERN uses them to classify collision events, find rare Higgs signals.
And diffusion models, the generative artists, learning by reversing noise.
Correct. Inspired by thermodynamics. Learn to denoise static back into structure. By learning this reverse process, they become powerful generators. Start with noise, create new, realistic samples. State-of-the-art for de novo 3D molecular generation, like MatterGen designing crystals, effectively sculpting new materials.
And these architectures are deployed via platforms, an emerging ecosystem.
Yes. Major tech companies are building cloud-based platforms aiming to be integrated operating systems for science.
Like NVIDIA. They're more than just GPUs now.
Much more. They offer hardware, H100, Blackwell GPUs, DGX systems, but also domain-specific software platforms. BioNeMo for drug discovery, Earth-2 for climate twins, aiming to be the full-stack enabler.
And Google with DeepMind. They're behind many big breakthroughs.
AlphaFold, GraphCast, GNoME, often releasing massive public data sets too, which fuels wider research. Plus Google Cloud infrastructure, TPUs, VMs, and developing tools like the AI co-scientist.
Microsoft, what's their play?
Microsoft Discovery Platform, built around an agentic AI framework orchestrating specialized AI agents for complex projects, integrates a graph knowledge engine on Azure. Their AIforScience initiative develops foundational models like MatterGen materials feeding into that platform.
And startups, too?
A vibrant ecosystem tackling specialized problems, often leveraging the open source models and cloud platforms from the big players. It's a race to build the cloud backend for 21st century science. And importantly, releasing public datasets creates a secondary flywheel, democratizing AIforScience, accelerating discovery for everyone.
Okay, but despite all this promise, there are significant hurdles. Practical challenges, ethical dilemmas. Trust is paramount, right?
Absolutely. These aren't minor details. They hit core scientific principles, rigor, transparency. Building trustworthy AI is critical.
One issue is data, isn't it?
Yeah.
Quality, scarcity, bias.
A huge challenge. AI models reflect their training data. Noisy, incomplete, or biased data like genomics mainly from one ancestry leads to flawed models. Models that don't generalize or worsen existing disparities. Garbage in, garbage out.
And the black box problem. We don't always know why the AI makes a prediction.
Yes, many powerful deep learning models are opaque. How can scientists trust a discovery, a new drug, a new law, if the reasoning is incomprehensible?
So we need explainable AI, XAI.
Exactly. XAI aims for transparency, answering what features were important, why this prediction. Techniques like Shape and Lime visualize input contributions. Robust XAI is a prerequisite for trust and true human-AI collaboration.
Reproducibility is another pillar of science. Can others replicate AI findings?
That's a growing concern. AI can worsen the replication crisis. Studies warn of high reproducibility rates, sometimes up to 70%.
Why is that?
Several reasons. Proprietary models, poor documentation of code and settings, the random element in AI training, limited access to massive compute resources needed for replication. The path forward requires open science, open source code and data, meticulous documentation like using containers, fixing random seeds for deterministic results. Otherwise, findings can't be reliably built upon.
And the ethical questions.
Yeah.
They seem profound.
They are, especially as these tools become widespread. Authorship, for instance.
Right. If an AI makes a key discovery, who gets the credit? The Nobel Prize.
Current frameworks are clear. Authors must be human, responsible for integrity. AI can't be listed as an author, but its use must be transparently disclosed. This will get more complex as AI becomes more of a creative partner.
And the dual-use risk. Tools for good, potentially used for harm.
A sobering dilemma, especially in biology and chemistry. An AI trained to design therapeutic proteins could, theoretically, be used to design novel toxins or pathogens, lowering the barrier for non-experts.
That's concerning, particularly AI protein design in autonomous labs.
High-risk capabilities, yes. Mitigation needs a multi-pronged approach. Red teaming models for dangerous capabilities, securing access, filtering harmful requests, developing international standards for responsible AI in life sciences. Balancing immense benefits against catastrophic risks is critical.
So looking ahead, what's the future of the scientists themselves?
AI's rise doesn't end the human scientist. It transforms the role. As AI handles routine tasks, data analysis, literature review, initial hypotheses, humans focus on uniquely human skills.
like deep critical thinking, complex problem-solving, cross-domain creativity, ethical judgment.
Exactly. The scientist of the future is less data cruncher, more conductor of AI agents, curator of machine ideas, the ultimate arbiter of scientific truth. The saying holds, AI won't replace scientists, but scientists who use AI will replace those who don't.
And the long-term vision, autonomous science, self-driving labs.
That's the ultimate goal for some areas. Fully automated facilities executing the entire scientific method 24/7. AI software as the brain formulating hypotheses, designing experiments, instructing robotic hands to perform them. Data feeds back, AI analyzes, formulates the next hypothesis, accelerating discovery by orders of magnitude.
But these labs magnify all the challenges, don't they? Reproducibility, trust, authorship.
And dual use risks. An autonomous lab designing novel molecules is a profound security concern. Solving these challenges for autonomous labs means solving them for AI in science generally.
So science in, say, 2035, what does it look like?
AI is expected to be an invisible, integral component, ubiquitous like the internet today. Human-AI partnership becomes the standard. This could free our intellectual resources for deeper conceptual questions, maybe spark a new enlightenment. Synergy with other tech, like quantum computing, will unlock currently intractable problems, launching discovery into an uncharted era.
We've certainly covered a lot of ground today. Journeyed through the historical paradigms, explored the catalyst driving AI, seen how it's rewriting the scientific method, and delved into its impact across medicine, physics, materials, climate. And we've confronted the crucial practical and ethical frontiers, too. The mystery isn't if AI will continue to change discovery. It seems clear it will. It's how boldly we, as a scientific community, as humanity, will choose to wield it. What new frontiers will you explore when your digital colleague is by your side, ready to uncover secrets once thought unreachable?